Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1129A, and today's date is November 16th, 2016, and the title of the episode is, The Economy Didn't Magically Improve, It's a Giant Mess, and when it collapses, it will be devastating. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we understand that the central bank, the establishment, the shadow government, they've been pushing for a cashless society. And we understand out in India, there are major problems over there where they're saying that the 500 rupee, the 1,000 rupee, well, you need to convert them. You need to trade them in and get a lower denomination note. And you need to go to the banks. You need to go to the post office. But during this decision, during the first day, well, banks were closed down and people couldn't get to them. And what happened was, when the banks reopened, people were running in, trying to trade in their currency. There were long lines. There were people pushing and shoving. And they were hoping to go home with this new cash. But the problem is that half of India's citizens, they don't have a bank account, and around 25% don't even have an ID card. This is one of the country's poorest people, and many of them have no way of converting their money. And people are running into supermarkets. They're trying to get whatever they possibly can. There was rumors going around that salt was selling for 400 rupees, which is $6 per kilogram. And of course, once these rumors get started, people run in to buy salt, and then all of a sudden, those rumors become truth, because then salt runs out. And they were saying this a lot about other products like sugar also. And what's happening is that people, they don't understand what's really going on here, because it just came out of the blue. So they're converting whatever they have into gold, silver, even US dollars, and other foreign currencies. And these things are trading at huge premiums. Gold, for instance, it has shot up to $2,800 per ounce, if you can find it. And this should tell you something. When things start to break down, when people are scared, they want real money. It's amazing how all of a sudden, when you remove the 500, the 1,000 rupee, people are like, well, I don't want to be holding any of this stuff. I want something that's real, that they can't say they're going to discontinue. You can't discontinue gold. Yes, the government can say, or the central bank can say, oh, we're not going to use gold. But guess what? Gold is always money. It has been for thousands upon thousands of years. And we see right now they did all this to stop corruption, counterfeiting. And the problem, guess what, didn't go away. They still have the same exact problem. Actually, the new bills, they're saying they're actually worse. Counterfeiting is now taking place with the new bills. People are creating them. They look exactly like the new bills. So they really didn't do anything. They're saying that the new bills aren't as sophisticated as the old bills. But we know the central bankers, they're pushing the idea of a cashless society. And we see that UPS proposed to eliminate the Australia's $100 and $500 bill. They said it would be good for the economy and good for the banks. Well, of course, it's going to be good for the banks, but it won't be good for the people. And we can see right now that they've been pushing this idea out there more and more often. They haven't stopped. Citibank, for instance, in Australia, 2 days ago, well, they announced that they were going to be going cashless at some of their branches. And of course, this is not going to go well, as it starts off in a small area and then it expands. But we can see right now that this is what they're pushing for. And they're trying to convince everyone that it's good for everyone to have no cash. Let us control your funds electronically. Because governments would benefit from cashless societies, because all savings would be in the banking system, and they have full regulatory control over the banks. That means politicians would have more control over your savings and fewer obstacles to impose capital controls or engage in civil asset forfeiture. I mean, everyone benefits from a cashless society except for the people. Cash is one of the few remaining options for financial privacy, where you can have complete privacy where nobody knows what you're doing. Because we know with the emails, we know with the texting, we know with purchases through electronic mediums, they can track all of that. But we can see at this point they want all of this because the economy is dying. They don't want people running into the banks and taking their cash, because the bail-ins would then not work, because the bail-ins are meant to capture your cash. So this is what they're trying to stop before it happens, because they know the economy, well, they can't keep it going much longer, and we're seeing more and more problems, and it's getting worse. The student loan debt, well, that is spiraling out of control here in the United States. 41 million Americans owe about $1.4 trillion in federal student loan debt, which is nearly more than all the credit card and card loan debt in the U.S. That's how bad it is. And about 8.1 million people, well, guess what? They're in default right now, which is more than the population in 38 states. And these people, guess what? They just can't find jobs. And people are out there saying, listen, I've been trying to put my resume out there. People haven't been calling me back. I have no interviews set up. And I have all these loans. Many are taking part-time work, and many are saying, you know something? Well, maybe I'll go back to school, and maybe I'll go to grad school to put off the payments. But what happens is you're getting further and further into debt. And hopefully, when you're finished with grad school, there is a job for you, because what we're seeing right now is that the jobs are very hard to come by, and it's getting worse as time goes on. We're seeing the housing market right now is completely unraveling. Per Realty Track, U.S. foreclosure activity increased 27% from September to October. Foreclosed starts posted the biggest monthly increase since December of 2008. Scheduled foreclosures auctions posted the biggest monthly increase since 2006. The data right now is even more startling in certain states around the country, like Colorado. Foreclosures have jumped by 64% in October from September. And what we're seeing in Colorado, it tends to be an economic and demographic bellwether state, because the housing bubble 1.0, which was back in 2008, foreclosure activity in Colorado began to accelerate before it hit all other major cities. And Wolf Richter right now is saying that the Miami condo market, it is completely in free fall. And everything's getting worse. D.R. Horton, who builds homes, says inventories continue to balloon. The company's cancellation rate jumped to 28% from 23% last year. This looks exactly like 2008. Everything that we've been discussing, it's like I'm looking into a mirror. And we can see right now that things are rapidly falling apart. We know the interest rates have been creeping up, and look what happens when they do creep up. Mortgage applications crash by 30%. I mean, this is unbelievable. Because what we're seeing is that this entire economy was created with debt. And we can see the debt, well, the central bankers, the governments, they know that this is completely unsustainable. This is why they've been bringing down the interest rates to zero. Many places it's in negative territory, because they know with this amount of debt, if interest rates go up, we have a complete disaster on our hands. And we can see already with the housing market, as interest rates creep up just a little bit, look what happens. Can you imagine if they return to 4, 5, 6%? It would be a complete disaster. We see industrial production fell over year for the 14th straight month. This is the longest period of contraction without a recession in 96 years. I wonder why that is. You think the government is manipulating and not telling us the truth of what's really going on? Well, that's exactly what they're doing. We see right now the Baltic Dry Index, it is skyrocketing. It's up by like 1,500% in the past 5 days. And people are like, oh, look, see, everything's all better. But when we look closely at this, why is it going up? Well, it is seasonal. We're coming into the holiday season. But what we see is that the day rates for dry bulk shippers, well, they have increased. So we see the Baltic Dry Index increase with it. But when we look at the trend is still down, because you remove that, shipping is going to be dead. Because what we're seeing right now is dry ships are halted after this surge. And everything evens out. The seasonal adjustment that we're seeing right now, coming into the holidays, the prices, the dry ship rate that increased, evens out, and then all of a sudden we see everything start to move back down. And this is what we're going to see. Because this is not because manufacturing is increasing, people are buying more things so they need more raw material. This has nothing to do with that. This is because they raised the rates. And this is why we're seeing an increase in the Baltic Dry Index. We see that Trump is going to inherit the economy from Obama. Now, once again, and I'll repeat this over and over, I am not for Trump, I am not for Obama, I am not for Hillary. I am for that person that is in office that is going to work for the people. I would like that person to get rid of the central bank. I would like that person to get rid of the corporate interests that control our government, the foreign interests that control our government. I would like a government that works for the people, not for themselves. I know this new candidate who's elected President Trump has been saying a lot of things, but again, I go back to what I said originally. We need to watch the actions of this person, because think about everything that he's going to inherit right now. Nearly 7 out of every 10 Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. Reuters is reporting that U.S. mall investors are poised to lose billions of dollars as retail is collapsing right now. Credit card delinquencies have hit the highest level that we've seen since 2012. 35% of all Americans have debt that is at least 180 days past due. The rate of home ownership has fallen for 8 years in a row. It's at a 50-year low. The total number of government employees right now outnumber the total number of manufacturing employees in this country by almost 10 million. 20% of all young adults are living with their parents. The total amount of corporate debt in the U.S. has nearly doubled since 2007. When Obama took office, the debt of the U.S., and I know this is what they're reporting, I know the debt is much higher, but let's just go with this number, it was at 10.6 trillion. He's leaving office now. It's going to be 20 trillion, or very close to that, 19.9 or so. So he's inheriting a complete disaster. And by the way, out of the 8 years that Obama was in office, he's never had the GDP grow to 3% or more. And what this tells us that this economy is not doing what he says, because he is the only president in the United States history to never have a single year when the GDP grew by at least 3%. Yes, the last GDP number was 2.9%. They pushed that up with soybeans, and most likely the next round of GDP that is thrown at us, it will probably be a disaster. So what this tells us is that the economy is not out of the woods. When it hits, it's going to be devastating. People need to prepare. People need to get ready, because what we're going to see is something that we've never ever seen before, And many people are not going to be prepared for this whatsoever. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.